every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. Here are our top stories tonight. I am Anuluwakwa Lowofela, and here is the news in full. President Muhammadu Buhari has offered to personally meet with governors, elders and other stakeholders from the Niger Delta as part of his efforts to seek peace in the region following renewed sabotage of oil and gas pipelines by militants. The president of the Ijaw Youth Council, Udent Eradiri, says the presidency has contacted elders and stakeholders to inform them of its intention to broker peace. Eradiri did not say when the meeting might take place, but stated stakeholders will meet shortly on the crisis and the way forward. Meanwhile, oil production in the country now hovers around 1.8 million barrels from 2.5 million barrels per day on account of the attacks. The Nigerian Prison Service has confirmed that 2 accused persons on remand at the Kuje Maximum Prison in the Federal Capital Territory have escaped. Prison officers also stated that high-profile inmate Charles Oka remains behind bars, contrary to speculations that he is among the escapees. Charles, younger brother of jailed former leader of the movement for the emancipation of the Niger Delta, Henry Oka, is standing trial for allegedly masterminding the 2010 Independence Day bombing in Abuja. The Nigerian Prison Service Public Relations Officer Francis Enobore, who confirmed the jailbreak, gave no details of how the incident happened, but says the Comptroller General of Prisons has ordered for investigations. Enobore further adds that sister security agencies have been informed about the escape to assist in rearresting the runaway suspects. In the meantime, 7 contractors, including 3 Australians and a South African, have been released unharmed 4 days after they were kidnapped by gunmen in southern Nigeria. Victims work for cement company Lafarge on the outskirts of Calabar, Cross River State in the Niger Delta. Cross River State Commissioner of Police Jimo Oziobe says they were released on hot on Sunday but gave no further details. And now in Lagos State, where the State Police Command has commenced aggressive manhunt for suspected militants who invaded Igbo, Lomu and Ishawo areas of Ikorodu, unleashing mayhem on residents. The gunmen were reported to have come through waterways close to the communities and started shooting sporadically. Lagos State Commissioner of Police Fatai Owusheni, while addressing newsmen, says an aggressive and massive manhunt had already commenced against the suspected militants, adding that the investigation was going on smoothly. Now, no fewer than 120 suspected drug traffickers and addicts have been arrested by the NDLEA in Kaduna State from January to date. The state commander Samuel Azid Gay says 20 convictions were recorded in the period under review. Azige, who spoke on the sideline of road walk to mark the 2016 International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Drug Trafficking, added that 16 tons of drugs were also recovered from the suspects. And now today, which we already know is the International Day Against Drug Abuse, we have with us today Dr. Adideji is the National Coordinator of Christ Against Drug Abuse Ministry, Kadem. Good evening.
Good evening.
All right. Mr. Dokun, each year there's always a day set aside to mark celebrate the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. Going down memory lane, do you think much has been done to sensitize people enough on the dangers that this can pose to Nigeria and the society at large? Hello?
Okay.
Hello? Are you with
Hello.
me? Okay. You're welcome, Mr. Dokun.
Thank you very much.
Okay, now I said that each year there is always a day set aside. You always have the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. Now, going down memory lane, do you think so much or much has been done to sensitize people to know the dangers that this can pose to the society and to themselves?
To be quite honest with you, in spite of all the efforts being made, nothing much has been achieved in terms of advocacy and
Okay.
in creating awareness for our people. Because I must say frankly to you that NDLE has done a lot of work, but I think they are handicapped by the fact that they do not have enough financial wherewithal to do that which they ought to do, because there should be a lot of working together, cooperative, collaborative efforts in NDLA, but they are restricted by the amount of
Okay,
funds available to them.
when you say collaborative efforts, between who and who now? Between NDA and who exactly?
I think there should be more of NGOs working in this field that are recognized by NDLA, that they can work across the country in getting people to be aware of this. Because what I see is just a show on a day like this. Everybody talks about it, and then that's the end of it. Even in the sense that the NDLA should have a very strong collaborative force with the media. I don't think what we're doing today, just a tokenist kind of approach to it in the papers, today is World Drugs Day, and everybody walks away from it. How much of awareness is created on TV, in media, whether print or electronic? I think that a lot more should be done, and then also work with the movie makers, Hollywood, and then maybe we have something like a documentary, like many years ago, Mind Bending, that was done by Lola Fanikaude, in which people are continually sensitized. Because I can tell you that this is becoming an epidemic in our country, and a lot of more work needs to be done.
Okay, now you are the National Coordinator of Christ Against Drug Abuse Ministry. What has this NGO done to also sensitize people? Now, you said the NDLEA should collaborate with NGOs now to sensitize people. What has this NGO done from
No,
inception to...
for instance, we've been to some schools, we've been to some churches. Last Sunday, I addressed a large congregation in the church. Today, we did the same. Next Sunday, I'm going to do the same. And we've been to some schools around us. We're even trying to do something on a weekday, but we find that the schools around us will be having their exams. So that limited approach in that direction. We do a lot. We do a lot. We go around to churches, to schools, writing letters to them that, look, we'd like to come and talk to your students. And then we've been all over. But the thing is, how many? I mean, this is Lagos. Even within Lagos, we can't do as much as we are supposed to do. If I tell you that the rate of prevalence of drug use in Lagos is huge, and then we are just like a drop in the ocean in what we're doing. So we must have a multiplier effect. If we schools themselves are interested, and probably making it part of the curriculum.
So what do you think can be done to actually nip this in the bud now? Because I know each time there is a day set aside to celebrate, or rather to sensitize people on these issues and the dangers, but then it doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon, because there are times when you go by the street, you see people who engage in these things, but you do not, some people do just pass by, okay, this person is a drug
Yeah,
addict,
an
and then
area
there's nothing to
boy,
do,
and
an
then
area boy, yeah,
everybody walks
the
away from
area
it.
boy thing. So what do you think can be done? Because I know if we go on this way, I feel if we go on this way and ignore okay, it's not my brother, this is not my father, I have no relationship with the person, probably, what do you think can be done to actually, what do you think we ourselves can do to ensure that this is reduced. At least we have a reduced number, because in the news now on the 22nd of June, the NDLEA said that they arrested 8,000, over 8,000 suspected drug traffickers. So what do you think we can do on our own and not even wait for NDLEA now?
Okay, for me, I think the media has a large role to play. The thing is, I have said it to a number of them. Would you like to sit down and do a segment on drug use and abuse? But what everybody does is when there are seizures, they put it, they emblazon in the newspapers. Oh, this person has been caught, 10 people have been caught, and we forget it and walk away from it. One of the things that I think we should start is a multi-pronged approach. The NDLA has to be restructured, believe me. And if we're serious, the only thing that happens in NDLA that everybody hears about is interdicting arms. We catch people and we make so much noise about it. That is drugs not going out to other countries. What about the drugs that are resident here? If we don't begin to encourage NDLA with a lot of funds and then invigorating the DDR unit, the drug demand reduction unit, we can't get much out of them. And they need also now to have enough money to collaborate with people. For instance, they can sit down with the movie makers, the Nollywood, and say, look, can you guys, those that are clean out of them, can we make a documentary? Can we sing about it? Can we do things about it, not just on June 26th, and then we walk around Lagos and then everybody forgets it's like a show. Everybody forgets about it. And then I've said in churches, this drug issue or social issues should be made altar issues that are preached, not just about preaching every Sunday, but we talk about this because they affect our young people, the young population that will be the future of our country. And then everybody must get into a situation of knowing things. Nigerians were ignorant. And there's a lot of denial in this country. If, for instance, let me say, people will say, oh, I don't want people to know that my son uses drugs. And everybody's hiding it. If, say, two, three big people come out and say, look, my children have issues with drugs, but we're going to work with it. We're going to do this. You'll find that just like it happened with HIV/AIDS, when Professor Ransom Kuti said his brother was suffering from, he demystified HIV/AIDS. And everybody, look, HIV, this is the face of HIV. We can deal with it. But what do we do here? We deny it. We pretend as if it doesn't happen. So everybody in this country must wake up. But there must be a commitment also from government.
Okay.
Because what I see is more of tokenist approach. Oh, the whole world is fighting drugs. We too are fighting drugs.
Okay.
There is no holistic measure of dealing with it. That is the only way we can nip in the bud. And one thing again that I say, we must decriminalize drug use. You cannot punish a man twice. A drug addict again is being jailed or being punished. That is double jeopardy. People who sell it, people who traffic in it can be punished, but not the people who use it.
Okay.
People who use it are victims. We need to help them. That's my approach.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Dokun Adedeji. Nice having you today. Thank you. All right, now still in the news, the Lagos State government has restated its commitment to sanitize the water transportation system so as to ensure improved, efficient and safe mode of movement of people and goods on its waterways. Managing Director of the Lagos State Waterways Authority, Laswa Abisola Kamsin, says the government has embarked on stock taking and repositioning in order to prevent mishaps and wanton loss of lives. According to Kamsin, the current operation on the waterways does not conform to the international standard. The government has concluded a master plan which has identified 30 roads across the state, and they have been embarked for channelization, dredging, lighting and demarcation specifically for water transportation. And now, in a bid to woo investors and corporate organizations back to the Lagos Island Central Business District (CBD), the Lagos State Government will on Tuesday, June 28, hold an interactive stakeholders forum. This was made known in a statement released by the Special Advisor to the Governor on CBD, Agbola Dabiri. Furthermore, the one-day forum initiated by Governor Akinwumi Ambode would elaborate on the vistas of opportunity in the CBD and the need for them to turn challenges to opportunities. According to Governor Ambode, this will be achieved in line with the onerous desire of government to revitalize and return the lost glory and beauty of the Lagos State Island of the 80s and 90s. Other matters to be discussed at the forum are waste management, transportation, and security. And now experts say moves by the Buhari-led government to lure foreign investors into the country is not what is needed at this point. Some of them believe the federal government needs to first create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive and then seek investors with Nigerian roots to come in and invest. Akin Obakeye completes the story.
Several moves from both the state government and federal government to invite foreign direct investment is gradually becoming a norm in the country. Although experts believe it is a good move, they however believe luring investors is not the way forward due to the infrastructural challenges facing the country.
If you bring somebody from a foreign land, he's a Chinese guy, he's from wherever, Vietnam or South Africa or whatever, they are not going to tolerate the infrastructural problems we have.
How can we ensure that those who need foreign exchange, they get them, at well-known, appropriate pricing? How can we ensure that, when people want to run their plants, that they have power to do that? How can we ensure that all the other enabling infrastructure needed to run this economy, that we are, putting them in place?
They further tasked the government to introduce well-meaningful economic policies capable of luring Nigerians in diaspora to come back home and invest.
There are some of us that have interest in the development of this country, that have interest in the quality of life of our people, and we want to do as much as we can to produce goods and services to that end.
As a nation, we need to now focus on how can we enable our business environment, to make it easier to do business. Nigeria is doing very poorly on the ease of doing business, criteria, around the world. How can we make our business environment better?
Opinion polls show that even the National Identity Management Commission has less than 1% data of Nigerians in diaspora. Getting adequate information of such statistics can help the government narrow its search for Nigerian investors in the diaspora. Akin Obakeye, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Now, the government of Plateau State is set to restructure its tax collection system in order to ensure maximum compliance. This was made known by the State Accountant General, Cyril T.N. Yil, in a financial meeting that took place in Jos. Our correspondent has the details.
According to the Plateau State Accountant General, the state is ready to reform its tax collection methods so as to ensure that what is accrued to the state and the federal government is properly remitted. He says various contractors working in the state will be advised accordingly on ways to pay their tax speedily after they have received payments for work done.
All the necessary taxes that he or she is supposed to pay must go along. There is no need that you pay the contractor his due and then you hold back all the necessary taxes. The reason being that we want to be very transparent. 2, we want to avoid the issue of tax liabilities. 3, we want to be committed members of this great country called Nigeria.
The zonal coordinator of the Federal Inland Revenue Services, Ahmed Swade, commended the Plateau State financial managers for not holding back on the tax returns that belong to the federal government and urged other states to emulate the faithful gesture.
Some states, they collect this money, they execute projects, they deduct taxes, and they combat the taxes. But Plateau State, I'm confident to say it before anybody, that they are complying 100%.
In view of the current financial crunch occasioned by the fall in oil price, Swade said the federal government has mandated them to ensure they meet up with the 4.7 trillion naira target for the 2016 fiscal year.
A 41-man committee on emergency in the education sector has been constituted by the Taraba state government. Details in a moment. Stay with us.
You know, Angela, that's a very difficult question.
It is difficult to respond to that question.
Angela, that's a great question.
Great question, Angela. Angela, that is a very great question. That's a great question, Angela.
Okay, that's a great question.
Yeah, very good question.
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
That's an interesting question.
This is an interesting question you pose.
60 Minutes with Angela. Gain answers to every question you always wanted to ask.
With over 7 billion of world population and still counting, the world needs to hear you now than ever. Whatever your ministry or vision is, Gospel Africa will help get you there faster than you think possible. For inquiries and participation, contact 009 503 3859 or 0812 076 0011 or visit www.gospelafricang.com. Gospel Africa, your #1 media solutions for the church today. Gospel Africa, showing on this station at this time.
Welcome back. Here is a recap of our top stories tonight. Do remember that you can get all of our top stories on our social media platforms. You can follow us on Facebook, that's facebook.com/CoreTV News. You can also join the conversation on Twitter at CoreTV News NG. You can visit our YouTube channel, that's youtube.com/CoreTV Liverpool News. And our ministries, boards and parastatals in Taraba State have been receiving free digital training sponsored by Google to enhance and develop their skills. This is tagged as a quest to expose Africa to the digital revolution. Odua Godwin reports that the training was done by the Cedar Network Limited.
In Africa, beneficiaries of the internet are still low. Hence, the need for more people to acquire ICT knowledge has necessitated the free digital training to expose participants to the latest technology and to equip them in the digital age, using it to expandate in their work and businesses. The training enjoined Tarabans, especially entrepreneurs of small-scale businesses, to see the internet as a forum where transaction can easily be done. The need for Nigeria to be part of the digital revolution, bridge the divide, equip Nigeria for digital age, utilize the knowledge gained and be self-reliant is the sole purpose for the training.
Google is trying to do their best to ensure that there is digital penetration to Africa, especially Nigeria. And Taraba State is also very fortunate to be a beneficiary of this program.
To actively be involved and make use of this knowledge. Also for participants to be self-reliant, for people that actually want to be entrepreneurs, digital entrepreneurs, be self-reliant on their own.
This training will not only enhance us as individuals, but will also help us in developing our establishments, respective establishments, and by extension, Taraba State as a whole.
Google says it is doing its best in assuring that everyone uses the digital age to enhance their lives come 2020. Udwa Godwin, CoreTV News, Jalingo.
Now in Plateau State, where the state chapter of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations (NIPR) has elected new officials to pilot its activities for the next 2 years. Though the former executive had delayed the state annual general meeting and elections by a year, the event attracted several dignitaries from around the country. After the elections, Felix Otuakwipo emerged chapter chairman, while King Richard was declared Secretary General. Our correspondent has more.
For the position of Secretary, Egibo King Richard got 51 votes. For the position of Vice Chairman, Wika Ngofwen got 52 votes. And for the position of Chairman of NIPR Plateau State Council, Dr. Felix Otuaripo got 53 votes. Powers conferred on this committee, all these people stand elected.
The president of the institute, Rotimi Oladele, who was represented at the occasion by council member Harun Audu, charged the new state executive members to be innovative while working as a team.
I therefore encourage you to make sure teamwork is important. It's celebrated, it's advocated. But again, as individuals, tonight, sit back and reflect on what you can do differently to make sure this team succeeds.
The newly elected chairman and the Director General, Industrial Training Fund, charged private organizations, ministries and parastatals to only engage the services of professionals in their public relations departments.
Well, this meeting is here to highlight the importance of public relations in any enterprise or any business.
Quacks are no more allowed into the public relations profession, and that we expect that organizations henceforth should adhere to the law establishing the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations to bring in professionals that will manage their image.
Expectations are high on the part of members who are looking towards the new executives for a revival, restructuring and renewal in the Plateau State chapter of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations.
Now, stakeholders in the creative arts industry describe piracy as a plague that has befallen artists and are calling on the government to implement laws to end piracy of works in the country. Speaking at a forum in Lagos, prominent artists believe piracy cannot be avoided but reduced if strict measures are taken on concerned parties. Akinyobakeye has more.
Art is regarded as the mirror of life, but when there is a duplicity of art, the content and form becomes lost. So is the case of pirated work of art in Nigeria. Most creative artists have lost billions of naira over time to piracy. But can it be avoided?
It's a two-way thing. If there's no buyer, there will be no seller of pirated works. And if we do that, then we will see the income from all creative works making the kind of money that they should make.
You can never eradicate piracy. It's going to happen wherever it is. So I know it's a big problem because it is unfair when an authors spend all their time to create something, and then you just take it and you steal it and then use it for whatever you want to use it for.
The crucial role of the government in implementing anti-piracy laws is brought to the fore.
If a law can come out that street hawkers, we cannot have people hawking creative works, pirated works on the streets.
Over in the UK, it's not really an issue because everything is copyrighted. So that is the system that has to be over here as well. If you find out somebody has copyrighted your thing, whatever it is, invention, book, whatever you've got out there, there should be a system whereby they can be sued.
In a bid to end piracy, President Muhammadu Buhari directed law enforcement agencies to step up campaign against the menace of piracy in Nigeria's entertainment industry. But how far the agencies have fared remains a question on the lips of many. Akin Obakeye, CoreTV News, Lagos.
And now Nigerians have again been called to pray for their leaders and also to be patient with the present administration, as the APC-led administration is doing everything within its power to alleviate the suffering of Nigerians. The call was made by Nigeria's First Lady Aisha Muhammad Buhari while donating food items in Kaduna, northwest Nigeria. Our correspondent was there. Receiving the items on behalf of Kaduna State Government, wife of Kaduna State Governor Adiza El-Rufai commended the President Buhari-led administration for the achievements recorded so far, especially in the fight against insurgency and corruption. She called on all Nigerians to pray for their leaders and also to be patient with the present administration, as the ABC-led administration is doing everything possible to alleviate the suffering of Nigerians.
Pray for the government. Instead of condemning, we should try and understand the constraints that the government is facing. We are all aware that this government has come in at a very, very difficult time. There's no money in the country. The price of oil in the international market has crashed. So it's really a very difficult thing to run a government when you don't have the resources.
Donating the items on behalf of Aisha Buhari, Binta Muazu sympathized with the citizens of the pains they are passing through presently, assuring them that the pains are temporary, as President Muhammadu Buhari is working tirelessly to put things right, adding that the president means well for the country. The First Lady says the donation is part of our efforts to touch the lives of the less privileged in society, particularly in this trying moment of economic hardship and in the spirit of Ramadan.
They are still remembering the hard work, the commitment, the prayers, and everything that you did that brought the change that everybody yielded for. It's just a token for this period of month of Ramadan to give to you people, both Muslim and Christian brothers and sisters.
She also encouraged the Muslim faithful to use the Ramadan period to pray for the peace and development of the nation. We'll go for a quick break now, and when we return, we'll bring you more stories from outside Nigeria. Stay with us.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
CoreTV News now live on all Androids.
Welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
Download CoreTV News app from your Play Store. Click on the menu to see all our top stories, from politics, sports, business, foreign news and live TV to watch us live on your mobile.
I want to know why I should be believing them.
You can also click on video to see all our YouTube videos. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Welcome back. And now on the foreign scene, at least 35 people have been killed and 11 injured after a bus crashed and caught fire in the China's central province of Yunnan. The bus burst into flames after crashing into a barrier along a highway on Sunday morning in Yunnan province, Yihan County. Two children were among those killed, while 4 of the 11 people taken to hospital were seriously injured. Meanwhile, the driver of the bus, which carried 55 people, has been detained. Local officials believe that an oil leak caused the bus crashing into a roadside guardrail may have caused the fire. According to the World Health Organization, traffic accidents are common in China, with more than 250,000 people dying each year on the country's roads. Historian and political newcomer Gunnig Johannesson has claimed victory in Iceland's presidential election. With 32% of votes counted, Johannesson had won 37.8% ahead of businesswoman Hala Tomadottir on 29.9%. Johannesson was widely tipped to replace Olafur Ragnar Grimson, who has held the office since 1996. It also portrays he would make a great effort to be the unifying force that Icelanders want and deserve. Meanwhile, Johannesson says his first task as president would be to fly to France to cheer on the team in their second-round match against England on Monday. The Icelandic consulate in France had flown ballot papers to the football team's hotel in Annecy so that the players could vote on Saturday. 47-year-old Johannesson is an expert on political history, diplomacy and the constitution, and has not said anything about the political party he supports. He only says he is an ordinary father who likes to read, jog and play football, and has also translated 4 books by US horror writer Stephen King. Now, Syrian and Russian airstrikes have killed at least 82 people, including 58 civilians in Syria's eastern Deir az-Zor province. 3 air raids at the town of Al-Qaraya, held by the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant group in the suburbs of Deir az-Zor on Saturday. Meanwhile, ISIL fighters have now set up a security perimeter around the residential area where the town's mosque is located. Russian fighter jets have been carrying out air raids over Syria in support of President Bashar al-Assad since September 2015. And now the Iraqi army says it has seized the last strongholds of the Islamic State group in the city of Fallujah. The head of the counter-terrorism forces in the operation, Abdul Wahad al-Sadi, says his troops have entered the northwestern Golan neighborhood, the last area still under IS control. He also stated that the city, which ISIS seized control of in January 2014, is now fully liberated. Furthermore, army officials revealed that the operation to retake Fallujah has witnessed the death of at least 1,800 people. And here are sports stories tonight.
Power style, and that's what he delivered.
Euro 2016 host France came from behind to beat the Republic of Ireland by a goal margin to reach the quarterfinals of the competition. The Irish got off to a stunning start by taking the lead in the second minute via a Robbie Brady penalty after Shane Long was fouled in the box. But the French hit back through Antoine Griezmann, who nodded in the equalizer before driving in the winning goal. Meanwhile, defender Aderami and midfielder N'Golo Kante will miss their next games after picking up their second bookings of the tournament.
It's a massive moment for Ireland. They got off the canvas before to survive another round, and now Ireland have landed left David Ford at home. This is Coman. Now Griezmann. Payet. Now a chance for Bakary Sagna to cross. It's in towards Griezmann, and it's in. And there's the equaliser from France. Well, you got the feeling it was coming. Antoine Griezmann with his second. It is a superb atmosphere in what is a fantastically appointed stadium. Giroud headed it down to Griezmann. Big chance this for Griezmann. Voila! Antoine Griezmann scores.
Germany announced their status as favourites for Euro 2016 as they overwhelmed Slovakia in Lille to set up a quarter-final tie against Italy or Spain. Centre-back Jerome Boateng gave the world champions an 8-minute lead with a superb 25-yard volley before Mario Gomez poked in the second. Julian Draxler, who provided a superb assist for the second, made it 3-0 with a near-post volley after the break. Mesut Ozil also missed a penalty for Germany in the 14th minute. Meanwhile, Slovakia's best chance fell to Juraj Kuka, whose header was brilliantly tipped over by Manuel Neuer.
Well, we talked about the talent that Draxler has. He goes by. Throws through the corner. Hummels attacked it. It's turned into a third goal by Julian Draxler. A wonderful volley. It is a rampant Germany. Perhaps this is the real Germany.
Now, Granit Xhaka said his miss in Switzerland's penalty shootout loss to Poland at Euro 2016 will make him stronger and promised he would not back down from taking penalties in the future. The Swiss team lost 5-4 after a 1-1 draw on Saturday, the second successive heartbreaking elimination from a major tournament after they were beaten by a last-minute goal in extra time against Argentina at the 2014 World Cup. Xhaka impressed throughout the tournament with his immaculate passing and cool elegance in possession, but the usually unflapped player lost his nerve in the shootout and sent a dismal effort wide of the goal. Anthony Joshua defended his IBF heavyweight title for the first time with a 7th-round knockout of Dominic Breazeale in London. The unbeaten American was incredibly game, standing up to some brutal assaults by the champion, who now has 17 knockouts from as many fights. But after Breazeale was floored for a second time in the 7th round, the referee waved the fight off. With that, we've come to the end of the primetime news on CoreTV. Before we go, here is a recap of our major stories tonight. I am Anuluwakpo Oluwefela. Thanks for staying with us.